Welcome to the Mighty Habits podcast. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. You've probably heard a lot about, creating positive change in your own life.
Individual effectiveness.
Right. But what about taking that effectiveness and applying it to, well, the core of everything for many people, the family?
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame,
That
isn't it?
really is. So today we're doing a deep dive into the ideas from the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. And this isn't about, those quick fix cliches.
No, not at all. It's much deeper.
Yeah.
It's about fundamentally shifting how we actually connect, how we operate within our families, within our own homes.
Exactly. So what are some of those key shifts, the crucial perspective changes Covey talks about for building a family that's, well, truly effective?
Well, one of the first things, and it's really foundational, is this idea that effectiveness at home.
Hmm.
It isn't just a smaller version of success out in the world.
Okay.
It has its own unique dynamics.
Hmm.
A really key starting point is moving from what you might call a reactive family culture.
Hmm. Putting out fires all the time.
Exactly that. Constantly dealing with crises, big or small.
Hmm.
Moving from that to a proactive culture. So the emphasis shifts to anticipating challenges, and consciously shaping your family's environment and how you respond to things.
Right. That makes intuitive sense. It's just so easy to get caught in that loop, isn't it? Just reacting to whatever pops up, a sibling squabble, a missed chore, the usual stuff.
It is.
So how do you actually do that? How does a family become proactive? What would that look like, practically speaking?
Well, linking it back to Covey's overall framework, it really starts with figuring out your family's, um, mission statement, you could call
A
it.
family mission statement.
Yeah, what are your shared values? What are the long-term goals you have as a family unit? When you define those things together collectively, it creates a kind of compass.
Ah,
And that compass guides your decisions, your actions. It stops you from just being, pushed around by whatever happens day to day.
hmm,
That shared vision gives you the why behind being proactive.
gotcha. So it's not just about one person deciding to be proactive, but the whole family having the shared sense of direction, of purpose. That feels
Okay.
significant.
You just, okay.
Then there's that other habit, begin with the end in mind.
Mm.
How does that apply to family life? I mean, hopefully we aren't planning the literal final chapter anytime soon.
Huh. No, definitely not. In the family context, beginning with the end in mind is more about envisioning the kind of family relationships you truly want.
Okay. Like the quality of the relationship.
Exactly. What do you want healthy interactions to look like,
Hmm.
feel like? What sort of character traits do you hope your children develop?
Mm.
What kind of atmosphere, what kind of feeling do you want in your home?
Mm.
By having that clearer picture, you can then consciously work towards making it real in your everyday interactions
Yeah.
instead of just letting things drift.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to see how these pieces fit together. Being proactive is kind of fueled by that shared vision, the mission statement. And that vision helps you keep the end in mind, the kind of family you want to be in your daily choices.
Precisely. They build on each other.
Now, one habit I always find challenging, maybe, is putting first things first, especially in a family. There are just so many demands, right? Work, school activities, just keeping the household running. How do families actually prioritize what really matters?
Yeah, that's a huge one. And it brings up that constant tension between the urgent and the important, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Covey's point here is to consciously focus on what's truly important, not just what's screaming the loudest right now. So think about the activities that genuinely nurture relationships, that build connection, that contribute to the family's long-term well-being.
The quieter things often.
Often, yes, the things that easily get shoved aside by the immediate urgent demands. Putting first things first means you have to deliberately carve out time and energy for these crucial relationship-building things. Even when they don't feel urgent, it's about being really intentional with family time.
That really lands. It is so easy to just get completely bogged down in the daily grind, the tasks, and lose sight of those deeper connections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got being proactive, starting with the end in mind, putting first things first. Is there like a common thread tying these initial habits together for family effectiveness?
Well, I think the thread is that they build on each other sequentially almost.
Yeah.
You need that shared family vision, the end in mind, to even know what your first things truly are.
Right. What's actually important.
Exactly. And then you need that proactive approach to make sure you're actually acting on those priorities in line with that vision instead of just, reacting to every little distraction that comes along. It boils down to conscious, values-driven living,
Yeah.
but as a whole family unit.
That makes sense. It's a framework for intentional family life. Now, moving beyond those sort of foundational habits for the family unit itself, the book obviously talks a lot about interactions between family members.
Yes, the interpersonal habits.
And the idea of think win-win seems incredibly relevant there. I mean, households are just constant negotiation, aren't they?
Right.
Different needs, different desires, all bumping up against each other.
Oh, absolutely. And in a family, if you fall into a win-lose mentality where one person wins and another loses, it just breeds resentment, conflict, erodes trust over time.
Yeah, you can see that happening.
So think win-win is about actively seeking solutions where everyone feels their needs are considered, are valued. It takes empathy, doesn't it? Trying to understand different viewpoints and a real willingness to collaborate, to find outcomes that benefit everyone involved, rather than viewing family disagreements as some kind of zero-sum game where someone has to lose for someone else to win.
So it's not about just compromise where everyone's a bit unhappy, but finding that sweet spot
Mm,
where everyone feels genuinely heard and respected.
that's the goal, yes. Finding a better solution that works for everyone.
Okay, sounds great in theory, but, in the heat of the moment, a disagreement flares up. How do you actually get to win-win?
Well, that leads directly into the next habit, which is crucial for achieving win-win. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Ah, the listening habit.
Exactly. Before you jump in with your solution, your opinion, your demands, you have to make a real effort to truly listen, to understand the other person's perspective, their feelings, what their underlying needs are.
Not just hearing the words, but understanding the meaning behind them.
Precisely. Deep, empathetic listening. When you do that, you build this foundation of empathy and trust. And it makes finding those win-win solutions so much easier because you're actually addressing the real issues, the root causes, not just arguing about the surface level stuff.
That makes perfect sense. You can't possibly find a solution that satisfies everyone if you don't genuinely grasp where everyone is coming from in the first place.
Right. You're just guessing otherwise.
Okay. And this flows into the idea of synergize, which I admit can sound a little corporate jargony or abstract. How does synergy work in a family?
Yeah, it can sound a bit like that, but think of synergy simply as the magic that happens when you combine different viewpoints, different talents, different energies constructively. 1 + 1 = 3 or 10 or 50.
Okay.
In a family, this means truly valuing that each person is different, that they bring unique strengths, unique perspectives. Synergy happens when you work together in a way that creates results far greater than what anyone could achieve alone. It's about creative cooperation.
So not just tolerating differences, but actually leveraging them.
Yes, leveraging them. It involves open communication, celebrating that diversity of thought, and using it to tackle problems or reach goals together as a unified team. It's finding new, better ways by combining insights.
So it's really about tapping into the family's collective intelligence and creativity. That's actually a really powerful way to think about it.
It is. When it works, it's amazing.
And that brings us to the final habit, number 7, sharpen the saw, which is all about renewal, right? Keeping yourself going. How does a family sharpen its saw?
Great question. For a family unit, sharpening the saw means tending to all the different dimensions that keep the family healthy and functioning well over the long haul.
So it's not just one thing.
No, it's holistic. It definitely includes spending quality, enjoyable time together, fun, connection. But it also means things like nurturing individual talents and interests within the family, supporting each other's growth.
Okay.
It includes maintaining a healthy physical environment, maybe exercise or healthy eating habits as a family, and also fostering spiritual connection, whatever that looks like for your specific family. Could be shared values, traditions, faith, or even just time in nature.
So it's about investing across the board. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health of the family unit.
Exactly. It's consciously investing in all those areas to prevent the family from burning out, to maintain that positive energy and effectiveness long term. It's the habit that makes all the other habits possible, really.
We've covered quite a bit there, these foundational ideas from the 7 habits of highly effective families, really focusing on how to build those strong family bonds, through being proactive, having that shared vision.
Prioritizing the important things, aiming for win-win.
Right, and really listening to understand, collaborating creatively, and then, crucially, taking time for that renewal, for sharpening the saw as a family.
Yeah, those are the core pillars.
And obviously, the book itself goes much deeper, offering more practical examples, exercises you can try. But just understanding these core principles is a huge start.
Absolutely.
So for you listening, maybe think about how these ideas resonate. How might they apply even in small ways within your own family? Not as some rigid checklist, obviously.
No, more like guiding principles.
Exactly. Guiding principles for maybe fostering a bit more connection, a bit more effectiveness at home. And here's something to ponder. What if, just by consciously trying to apply one of these habits more consistently, you could start to shift the whole dynamic within your family, even slightly? What might that look like?
That's a powerful thought to end on. Small changes can ripple outwards.
Definitely something worth thinking about.